Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with the rank 1 Protoss in the world in the blue, the smiling assassin, the Mad King, it's hero. Facing off against herO's greatest stunt double, the rank 2 Zerg in the world in the red. We have Solar in a best of 7 Protoss versus Zerg showdown as part of the playoffs for Pig's $10,000 Pig Staff Festival number 7. And before we get started, it'd be incredible if you could smash that like button or maybe even subscribe. And we counter the algorithm. And Jimmy, what do we have? No, we're not going to talk about it. 1,828 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. And I'll probably do it anyways, because I don't know what else I can do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully, it's about to get just a little bit better than Solar, unable to kill even the first probe. As both the Lings and the Queens took a nibble at it, and neither able to stop it, but a single Zergling gets into the main to scout a Stargate, just kind of chilling out there. Just like my natural beard color of red, just kind of chilling out there. As part of the charity incentives for Gamers for Giving 2026, which you should tune in if you're watching this live. But you can find info in the description, the pinned comment. Is it permanent? We're gonna find out. But Adepts shading their way back, just enough Zerglings in order to discourage any further actions from hero, which means, of course, he's just going to go straight out. And 6-8 Zerglings are enough to maybe make the Adepts think twice about shading across the map, but that would require thinking at least the first time. Meanwhile, the Oracle comes in. The Queens will violently and firmly reject it. Unfortunately, the Oracle, again, just does not care. Gets 3 kills and gets out with orange HP, as the prophecy foretold. And hero starts off with a couple probe lead. He gets his 3rd base in a timely fashion. A Twilight Council in the main. 2 Oracles, no Moracles in production. And, well, I'm interested to see what take Solar has on this kind of phase of the matchup. Every Zerg player has their own flavor of early defense into mid-game transition, but none of them seem to be immune to the almost lackadaisical micro of some Oracles or even a few Adepts. A dozen Zerglings, but with 2 Adepts and a couple Stalkers, hero drags a couple back in, picks them off. The Oracle's looking for another opportunity. They may very well find it, and doesn't actually light them up again. The lair is on the way. The Queens will mildly inconvenience that same Oracle a little bit more, but so far, hero on nonplussed overall by the micro of the Lings and the Queens. He's lost exactly 0 units, which is not very many, and one of the Oracles split off and might even be able to get some more damage. Oh, wow. There's not a Spore Crawler, and hero's going to continue reminding him of it, but finally, this is restricted lair space! And how are you going to enforce that, Susan? Poorly. Poorly, Brenda. Yeah, I know. I don't... Anyways, a blink rush of sorts. 4 gates done. A couple more opening up. No, just 4 in total. Just getting as many blink stalkers as he can and chrono boosting out the upgrade itself. Not quite completed yet, but the Hydra Den has only just begun for Solar, and without Hydras to deal with Blink and help deal with the Oracles behind it, the Oracles can cover the backs of the Blink Stalkers, and the Blink Stalkers themselves are able to be incredibly efficient against anything but overwhelming amounts of Zerglings, because you have to cover both where they are and where they'll be, which is a temporal distortion very difficult on such an economy. Meanwhile, hero, for the first time in his career, actually managed to wall off with the Adept, but unfortunately, it's an already bruised one. The door is wide open, but he's knocking on Solars at the same time. The Zerglings will pick off a couple Adepts, but hero delays, and I believe there was a cancel, but delaying the 4th base is already a huge win overall, and it'll cost him 1 Adept, 3 Adepts in total back at home, which, you know, they're already past their expiration date. Infestation Pit is on the way. Charge, +1 for hero. Filling in the blanks of your more standard mid-game Protoss after that early blink aggression, which 100%, if he had gone for the +1 blink, then Solar would have had more than enough Zerglings, and likely some Hydras out. Another 30-second delay would have been the difference between Solar having a 4th base and keeping it. and having to give it up. And now, actually, a little behind on economy compared to hero. At least comparatively. A rush towards Hive and a Lurker Den. So Solar taking pretty much the other direction. Instead of trying to expand quickly and get a huge amount of units, he's going to try to get a smaller amount of powerful units, which can be effective, especially if unscouted. But hero, some of the best ways in order to scout your opponent is to simply punch them in the face repeatedly and see how they respond. What hero's going to do? Charge lots, I guess close enough. Maybe even more dangerous, as about 20 charge lots casually strolling in like they own the place. And who's to tell them they can't? Oh no. The drones will be saved by a stasis that grabs pretty much every single drone from the natural. The Zealots will drag back the Hydras, the Stalkers to the north, and behind this there's a fleet beacon, because of course there is. He sees the Hive. He killed the Lurker Den. Oh, just as the Hive finished. It's a technological and emotional disaster right now for Solar. He got the spawning pool. That's kind of an important part, though not nearly as important as the Lurker Den at this stage. Oh, what? He goes forward! As hero never goes back. Blinks right on top. Blunks on the Hydras. The Zealots cover. And slicing through. And hero may have the supply lead, but all the momentum goes to the Smiling Assassin as absolutely no fear. He might not even be capable of it. A fourth Nexus is on the way. A few Zerglings will scout it. Just as hero takes out the fourth hatchery, he just completely amputated the tech tree. He sliced apart the economy, and he got away with it. He removed the most important parts of Solar's game plan. The Lurker Den and the fourth base. The production and the tech. And what does that leave him with? Whatever's left. He still has a whole lot of Hydras. Lurker's on the way. It stalled out the production, but it didn't stop it. And there's 78 drones. So, at the same time, though, hero is building a mothership, which I doubt that Solar is going to be expecting a fleet beacon or fleet beacon accessories quite this early on. Going to have a single overseer. If it gets sniped off, then active cloaking on the mothership could just be a game-winning move. So a hero at 66 probes, only now adding a few more with the fourth base. But the Lurkers, Solar has the economy. He has the Hydras. He didn't actually lose that much in the way of units throughout all this. It's mostly been hero targeting his infrastructure. Solar been completely unable to do the same, not destroying a single building. Really, one Oracle straight in, a few Stalkers, but 23 Zealots were thrown away. Their lives for ire. For hero. But that's kind of the same thing. Well, on the left side, Archons and Charge Lots. On the right, also Archons, Charge Lots, and Immortals. And right down the center, a mothership. The Overseer will spot all this. Solar has a lot on his plate right now. Hero, there's an Oracle with the northern side, a Revelation. 5 Lurkers is not enough. It might be enough to slow this down, but I doubt it's enough to stop. Hero goes forward, directly into the Lurkers, and, well, that maybe wasn't the ideal angle. The mothership, though, down the center, just casually strolling forward. The active code. What? He recalls right onto a tactical dunk right into the midst of the Lurkers. Does he even see them? One Revelation. He brought an observer with it. Time warp slows down. The Lurkers come in from the north, but hero just slams his army right in the face of Solar. And it looks like he's successfully melting it off. The Immortals at the back. Stalkers blink to the side. Charge Lots not being slowed down enough. The Hydras are cut apart. And just like that. What? The choice to just... Hero is equal on supply. He recalls the battle group back directly into multiple Lurkers. But with zero... This is one of those things that if Hero had hesitated for even 2 seconds, it probably wouldn't have worked. Solar would have had the time to bring it all together. But instead, the violence of action. The Lurkers were not in position. And Hero just blasts his way through to a uncomfortably strong victory in game number 1. From a game that, yes, he had the momentum, but He had, by no means did he have a significant army advantage, upgrade advantage. He did have the hero advantage, I guess. Okay, sure. And then it just kind of ends. Hero slices Solar's head off with a mothership dunk to start things off. We won't end there. Game 2. And before I forget, remember, Gamers Forgiving 2026. If you haven't been watching live, that's how this... this is actually my natural hair color. I've been dyeing my hair for the last 15 years. So, finally, it's nice to let it all out. But we'll see. But you can find more info in the description and the pinned comment. We've already raised, as of this, we're casting this in between streams, partially to help promote, but over $10,000 to support gaming equipment and infrastructure in children's hospitals, aka making a whole lot of days a little bit better. So you can find more info there. And don't just take it from me. What? Did he does he remember? Do you remember? No. I mean, so he may suspect a 12-pull drone rush. This is the only build that not walling off, or maybe it's just giving up on the idea entirely, but the only build that walling in your main is better against is very early pool. So early that it's a liability to defend your natural. We're talking 12, maybe 13, maybe 14, probably not. I don't know. But in this case, he did go Gateway, Nexus, Assimilator, which means he's still focused on the economy. He does know he's up against Zerg, but we're not sure object permanence is something that he's regularly graced by. What are we doing now, hero? What's it gonna be? So this also hides even more of the build from the first Overlord. It's kind of implied you're going to have a gateway and a cyber core, but the fact he already has these two gas up in mind, well, there's a stalker on the way, clearly intending on making sure the Overlord keeps its distance at the very least. Don't know if the first Ovi was spotted. He's chrono boosting probes, so this is another hero original. One of those bespoke builds that it's almost impossible to be sure was planned or just happened to cross spontaneously. Or, you know, a bit of both. So now we're just going to leave two gaps. That's not a wall. That's a funnel. Or there are two gaps. Which is usually two more than you want because all this, we'll call it work. So he just gets in with the circling. So gonna get a full scout. He saw where the pylons were and where they weren't. Can narrow down the potential tech very easily. And he's just gonna build a Stargate now. Sure. Fills in the wall with another shameful, if he was capable of such a feeling, pylon. Oh, 2 Stargates. Why not? You know what's better than 1 Stargate? We'll see. This is one of those, it's so late, it might roll around to being early again. Because Solar is so confused that he could potentially hurt himself in his confusion. He's got a Roach one on the way. He has 16 Zerglings in production as he spotted the casual Shady Bunch coming across. The Overlord trying to scout. And the Stargates are done. Hero, sure, double Oracle. This is like an AI-generated version of a standard PvZ. Get me 2 Oracles, 5 Adepts, and a third base at 420. Okay. And here we are. 2 Stargates will get you 2 Oracles. Third base, technically. And they're the Adepts. Hero does cancel, which I'm sure hurt him physically. Meanwhile, the Zerglings That's still just a whole lot. The Overlord gonna spot all this. Not that there's anything to spot besides a Stargate being chrono boosted with nothing producing. And it's just a bunch of adepts. Just 8 adepts. Which is not enough to do real damage, but enough to be of concern. And Solar only has 40 drones. As Zerg, you can't both defend and build unit. Every couple Zerglings, every Roach is a potential drone. That isn't. And oh no, the Oracles. Oracles are never late. Neither are they early. They arrive exactly whenever hero builds them. What is that? Sure. A fleet beacon. Tempest? Mothership, but he already has 2 Stargates. Just kind of sitting there doing nothing. So Solar's in a very awkward spot where he had to rebuild drones or shore up the drone count. He does not have... The lair's not done. The lair will be finishing as the fleet beacon does. That's still a lot. He just has 12 adepts. No glaives. These are just... These adepts are raw dog in this matchup right now. And usually they don't survive very far past the 5-minute mark. And that may still be true, because he just casually shades in. The Oracles will try to find an angle where the spot of creep doesn't quite touch. And the Roaches are boxing out the mineral line. The Adepts don't seem to care. Oracles will glide away as the Queens try to chase them. And the Adepts just kind of leave. Carriers! What? Sorry. Carriers. That's what I meant. Carriers are also one of the units you can build. Now, usually carriers, because they're so obscenely expensive and easily countered relative to Tempest. Tempest can be countered directly, but because they're somewhat cheap in comparison to carriers, where you have to build the carrier and then a bunch of interceptors as well, Tempests are a lot easier to get a decent amount of damage done to justify their cost. But Hero has never seen a budget that he felt the need to justify, and so far no one's really been able to hold him accountable either. Or account for it. Sure. Carriers. Just a bunch of carriers. He's just gonna hide the carrier. Those are obviously the most dangerous. The carriers you don't see. They're like mosquitoes. Okay, if you see one, there's another few dozen carriers nearby. Interceptor's actually uncomfortably similar in the whole vibe, not... Anyways, moving on. So it's just a bunch of carriers, and the question will simply be, does Solar scout it before there are too many carriers to ever do anything about? So he sees a curious amount of static defense. He's still losing drones to the casual adepts. 18 drones dead. It costs 14 adepts, but he's kind of been trying to get rid of them for a while, and they've been hanging on uncomfortably long. A whole bunch of Hydras will be coming across the map. And against 4 carriers? Okay, maybe. There's a point where the amount of Hydras is high enough to just kill all the interceptors. It's unlikely you're going to kill the carriers unless there's nothing else in front of them. But 6 carriers? With charge lots and a mothership? Does he even have an overseer? Oh, no overseer. A swath of gateways. And the carriers have arrived. In fact, they're fully operational by the time the Hydras get here. Solar starts a Spire immediately. Oh, this feels so bad, man. He knows his economy is mediocre at best. He knows it doesn't get any easier to deal with the carriers. He's trying to get in, and actually he will. But there are 10 Zerglings in the main, while there are Hydras fighting interceptors. And guess what? Just when you thought you could deal with it, boom, the mothership! Surprise! Ah, the elephant in the room, aptly named. And while Solar is not dead, obviously, as Hero is just kind of sitting back, he has less economy, and he has Hydras against an entrenched Hero with mass carrier. 6 is max. That's when it gets there. Oh, it doesn't cancel the 4th base because, again, hero doesn't believe it. And in a game more one-sided than a Mobius strip, hero just kind of wins. Sure, the 2 Stargate into kind of ignoring your Stargates, into Fleet Beacon, into Carriers, into just a bunch of other stuff. Well, there was also some Adepts in there. That was kind of like a bottle episode of Adepts just kind of shading around, which was very important and also seems like it was in a different game, but it wasn't. For like 5 minutes of that game, Adepts were shading all around. 50 Shades of Adepts. But no, that it ends up being the Carriers. So, okay. (2-0) hero. Mothership. He's going to send a probe out at the beginning of the game, because of course he is. Where are you going? Oh, hero. Hero's like, I am winning too hard. It's time for one of these. He's inspired by the pylon from the... Oh my, the thematic elements here. We are on Mothership after winning with a Mothership, and he will build a pylon next to the tip of the spear, whatever this is, of the Mothership that looks suspiciously like a pylon. And is he just... This is literally, like, this is a... He's just gonna build 3-4 gates in the middle of the map? He doesn't know where Solar is, but I think he can narrow it down by the time the Zealots come out. The simplest build. But still obscenely dangerous. No, don't hide from us, probe. You filthy... Thank you. Disgusting. Beautiful. Inspiring. Concerning. Okay, well, Solar is going hatch first. A standard, such as this is very, very difficult to hold without any warning. But if you do, you just kind of win the game, because hero has literally nothing at home. All it takes is like 4 Zerglings. But the probe is coming in. The Overlord. Now, it was a bit of an odd angle, but I don't think enough to prompt anything. And also, does it really matter? As, do you hold on to the Zealots? He's got 2 of them. Is he gonna wait for, like, really? So, because it's a 3-player map, means the Overlords went in a split pattern. Solar did not see the gateways. His Overlords in a normal game would never see that. He's looking for expansions, but he's pretty sure... Oh my, he has no... Wait, did the Overlord spot this? No. It's an absolute disaster. Of course he is. A proxy 3-gate Zealot in the middle of the map. He drags the Zerglings away with the probe, and it all comes together. The Zealots have arrived. The spine crawlers will begin, but the Zealots are already inside the house. The Queen comes out. He waited so long, Queens came out, so that buys a little bit of time. The fact he's not going into the main is the only saving grace here. The spine crawler is okay against Zealots. It is far from ideal. He's building a cyber core like he's gonna macro this out back at home. Okay, hero. Meanwhile, thus lending more to the... Well, I'm winning too hard, so we gotta try... Still, it's 5 Zealots against 2 Queens and 10 Lings. The spine crawler is everything. The spine crawler is required. And the spine crawler is busy prancing around unburrowed instead of doing something useful. Is there enough energy for a transfuse? There is 1. And the Zealots, the drones, microing as best he can, getting on top of the spine. The transfuse is used. Target fire, a lot of Zerglings, incredible drone micro, great Queen micro, Zergling speed is done, 5 drones dead, and Solar's held. Wow. In a minor miracle, hero gave him the space to get the spine crawler. He took his sweet, sweet time coming up the ramp. for reasons that may be unknowns to the universe. But Solar will hold. And he'll put one on the board. Is he happy about it? I bet happier than if he didn't. Does this bode well for him going forward in the series? I can't think of a single sort of game that is less hopeful. Hero with the bungle. If he had just gone up the ramp and attacked the mineral line, seen the spine crawler when it was, you know, not fully tentacled, then he just, I'm quite convinced he just wins the game. But you know how boring that would be? You see, we're not necessarily playing for prizes, though we very much are. The lion's share, $10,000 in this tournament. But Hero maximizes not just his prize money, but his entertainment value. And when was the last time you saw Proxy 3 gate in a professional match? And honestly, that wasn't even a demonstration of why you don't. Because again, Hero had what is this? What do you do? Never mind. All right, throw that game out. I mean, we put it on the board. Throw it out of your minds. And now put this one in. I don't know what that was. Anyways. Sure. We're gonna... This is a PvP wall-off. Common wisdom would say. But, again... You don't wad off like this usually because... So we learned many moons ago. Wings of Liberty is when we determined that about 95% of the time, it is not only better, but almost ideal to wad off the low ground. Because even if Zerg is going for early aggression, you get so far behind if you get contained to one base, which is a lot more likely to happen if you don't try to build a wall early. Alright, the Zerg aren't sending their best. They're sending their lings. Mostly lings. Sometimes drones with them. Occasionally roaches. Wings of Liberty, roach all-ins were a lot more dangerous because oracles didn't exist. With oracles existing, there is almost no reason not to wall the low ground. And of course, the only time that Hero will build on the indicator is when it's not even part of the wall. So a lot of map makers have started including these little indicators of where conveniently you can place your pylon. In order to wall off correctly, sometimes even to help with walling off against Reapers and against Terran. Hero occasionally acknowledges their existence, maybe coincidentally. So, or he's just playing some sort of sick mind game right now against Solar. So Solar sees the pylon. He did not even see the Nexus. But he backs off with the Overlord because there's probably a Stalker on the way. There isn't. But it would make sense a Stalker is on the way to try to shut it down as one of the things to bait it in. But, again. Well. Hero just plays this completely normal and then just doesn't acknowledge this whole setup. He's proto-boosting probes. Which is not something you do if you're planning on some sort of early rush. Oh, Void Ray. Oh, at least we get something a little spicy here. A Void Ray can potentially take out the Overlords. Likely will. Now, a costly choice. Significantly less efficient at pretty much everything else than Oracles. There's a reason they're the choice, especially with energy recharge. The ability to slap another 50 energy every 45 seconds from the Nexus. Makes Oracles such an obvious choice so much of the time that Void Rays are relegated to, I'm doing sneaky build and I want to hide my build from your Overlords. He knows this Overlord is here. He knows it for a science fact. It's in his vision, which means the object permanence question is even there. He's sending the Void Ray across in order to kill the other Overlords before they realize the danger. The Void Ray, the natural predator of... Did you hear that? Must have been the wind. Overlord's taken down. In complete silence. Anyways, the days of this Overlord were numbered in about 0.07, whatever is 2 minutes, but... And 2 oracles behind. Another surprise oracle reveal. There are spore crawlers. A roach horn on the way. Solar with a pretty decent drone count because the Void Ray does not lend itself to doing early damage to drones. It's just not nearly as good at it. 3 queens standing guard. The Shady Bunch is on the way. Overlord speed, which lends itself very much to a German taxi build. The early queen drop, relatively early to kind of counteract this. Recalls the adepts. And charge is on the way. And +1. As hero, all of his tech is very much on the front. So, Solar is doing a Roach Queen all-in. Hero is also here. Yeah, charging +1, very useful in almost every scenario. But right now, Hero has 3 Adepts, a Void Ray, and 2 Oracles. This is a long way off. It's not even being chrono boosted. And the Queens, they are tagged by Revelation. The Dropper Lord. Don't remember what happens. Well, the Revelation runs out. The Dropper Lord is loaded up. He's gonna spot it. Could you scooch? There's enough room for all of us. That's kind of weird, right? Like, it's been a weird day today. Well, here come the Queens. Hero, with 3 oracles, adding more, lights up the Void Ray. Almost snipes off the Dropper Lord. Will take it out, but the Queens have made most of the journey, and they will make the rest on foot. Another Overlord's coming in. The Queens will slowly but surely trundle their way forward. Hero just incinerating a couple Ravagers before the Queens can get in range to support. Charge and +1 are still not done. Hero still has a single-digit number of units against a whole swath of Zerg, trying to take out the Queens. Shield Battery's helping a bit, but completely out now. And there should be enough energy on the Queens, as well as enough HP. And the Ravagers are just completely busting down everything. Hero's out of energy on the Oracles, out of units on the ground. And, charge will finish for exactly 2 Zealots. Warps it a few more. Looks like he's going to try to hold on to the 3rd base. Hero doesn't even have that much of a probe lead to justify this sort of potential sacrifice, but he's going to try it anyways. Energy recharge is available, but the Oracles, not so much. And Solar just kind of, when they're doing something weird, as the old wisdom says, go fucking kill him. And Hero looking very dead right now. In this series, looking a lot closer than you might have thought after a couple games. But Hero, with 2 very interesting, creative, and almost objectively dumb builds, will allow Solar to equalize 2 games to 2. What was the purpose of the wall off on the high ground? What was he hoping to accomplish? What did he accomplish? Confusion. Did it help? I think that's a question for the philosophers. Whereas my question is, Jimmy, where's game number 5? So, Hero has... Now, Solar did his part. Solar, I do feel so much of the time we focus on Hero. And he makes it impossible not to. It's like staring into the sun. It both blinds you and commands your attention. Don't think too hard, but... Solar has had some incredible execution. One of the best defenses against the haphazard proxy gate that he had no scouting of until 5 Zealots showed up. A very well executed queen drop with, but at the same time, there's the big caveat of, but what are you doing, Hero? He wrote the book, and then he tore it up into little pieces and tried to eat it before realizing the Protoss don't even have mouths. That's how it feels with Hero and his strategies. He, every once in a while, he's like, he tries some of those weird plants in his backyard and says, are they edible now? And no. And he's very lucky that he doesn't end up, like, in the hospital or dead. But that took a turn. Like and subscribe for Existential Dread. But You know, variety is the spice of life. And the spice must flow. Or something like that. So hero has now shown us 2 ways that aren't quite as successful in Protoss versus Zerg. And now he's returned to the surprisingly unique choice of walling off the low ground with a gate of Cybercore. And I'm going to assume another gate. Stargate, I guess, is technically correct and possibly on the table. But who knows? But just getting this far already puts him closer to those first 2 games than, well, the following experience. So Overlord will spot it. Snap back to reality. And Stargate. Certainly hasn't shied away from that either. I think every game. Well, besides proxy, beats selling. But the methodology of using the Stargate has been different. But the its existence is not in doubt. It's simply... Oracles are simply too good at everything they do. So good that literally every other piece of tech, there is no real place for it. Even if you're going to go for a big all-in, getting an Oracle first almost always pays off. Even though the Stargate itself is the price of an Oracle. 300 is the price you pay. And it's well worth it for early defense, scouting denial. It forces so much. Honestly, it's not even so much for defense. But the existence of the Oracle forces the Zerg to kill some of their own drones. What do I mean? Becoming a spore crawler means that drone is no longer a drone. You spend the money and the drone itself, thus limiting your economy. As well as limiting the queens and forcing them into certain positions that sometimes can allow even more openings. The Oracles are both effective and incredibly microable. Just like Adepts, as hero shades in, gets 2 drone kills, forces the drones off the line, and may even be able to shade away. Oh, another one? Nice little dodge by Solar. But the Adept continues, so you get... Oh no, you got a 3rd kill. So, 2 Adepts, well prepared for, but he still gets a huge amount of mining time loss, 3 drones, and slows down the whole build for long enough that his 3rd base is no longer in doubt. Even if there were 20 Zerglings, there's not even half that. It'd be almost impossible to delay the 3rd base at this point. The drones trying to hide in a corner. Hold me. As the Oracles come sharking around, hunting for loose drones. As Solar, the Queens. Oh no, he's gonna find him, I think. There's enough energy for Revelation as well as the pulsar beams. There's an Oracle back at home as well, and he just dives onto the Spore of the Queens. Gets 3 kills. And barely does more than shield damage, but Hero's going to stick around a little bit longer to make it a bit more sporting. So now what? This is always the part of the game. Why are you going +1 armor for Adepts? I don't know if that actually changes the math. That doesn't... Hero... This game has been too normal for him. So the reason you don't usually favor armor in general for Protoss is because weapon upgrades scale with damage. And Protoss also have shields. Armor does not apply to shields. They have their own shield upgrade. Adepts have half and half shields and HP. 70 shields, 70 HP. Unlike Zealots, which have 100 HP and 50 shield. And even then, usually Zealots, you prioritize the weapon upgrade. But here comes Hero. Armor is, I mean, it seems quite intentional. He's once again going Adepts. And this is, he's literally going to run into a brick wall. I'm realizing now. Hero has 62 probes. And he's going mass adept against roaches and queens, which is about as hard of a counter. This is the counter. He's got the queen drop on the way. But then, surprise, another... How many adepts is that? 16 adepts, because why not? There's a whole queen moot gathering at the top of the ramp. Hero's just going to go forward. He revelated the queens. He saw this army, and he's just going to go forward. The Shade. Stasis Horde is a threat. So Solar only has 49 drones. It's actually on Solar here to find an answer. To be able to both defend against the adepts. This is a curious situation where Heroes built so many adepts that they've now become Solar's liability. Despite the fact he has roaches. These are +1 armor adepts. What does that mean? I have no idea. But a stasis, it'll take a few roaches out of the fight. Hero's still very similar on supply. He's at 67 drones. Feels like almost nothing has happened, but so much. And at the same time, Hero's just comfortably... He's building Immortals. He's getting a Robo Bay. He's getting +2 armor and +1 weapons. The Ravagers and Lings are coming across the map. It doesn't get easier as time goes on for Solar. It gets more and more difficult as Hero starts tailoring his army to actually counter what he's seeing as opposed to just building a bunch of adepts. The Zerglings, not even going to take the bait of... Well, now the Queen's kind of in the way, but knocks out one. The Stasis, which in an awkward spot, he's trying to deal with it. The Blink Stalkers. The Stasis actually walls out Hero. The Corrosive Bows hit everything. The Adepts are also back. The Corrosive Bows obliterated like half a dozen Stalkers. But now the Stasis is working for Hero. The hard wall is letting a handful of Zerglings slip through. Eventually the trickle becomes a flood, but is Hero just beating this with Adepts? And what? Sure. The Mass Adept +1 armor, Blank Stalker, Immortal, Menagerie. 15 probes dead in the main. I missed it. Hero missed it. Solar slipped through. But 15 probes means Hero plummets to a 2-worker lead. The Adepts will shade across, and there is no retreat. Solar knew that going in, and I feel like very soon he's going to be going out. It just works, I guess. Solar did what should have been a hard counter to the Adepts. But Hero just built so many of them that Solar kind of waffled on the attack. It's like, is it just Adepts? And by the time he was convinced it wasn't anymore. And now the Blink Stalkers at the front, the Adepts in the main, the Shades through, he's killing drones. Meanwhile, there's a... maybe he dropped the Lings in. Either way, Hero has 59 probes. He's been building probes throughout all this. Absolutely no problem with it. +2 armor's about to complete. He's playing it off like it was intentional. And you know, I give him a better than even chance it was. As most of the time it's odd anyways. The Adepts will shade through. Solar's been run around in circles. He's been picked apart, drawn, and quartered. And now, just one game away. Somehow that was even more confusing. The other builds were a creative start with a quick end. That was a relatively normal start into, I guess, just Adepts. The unit that almost everyone accepts is not very good past a certain point in the game. It's so easily countered. Roaches and Queens and Rabbit. Literally, those are the counters. Right? Hero's over here, like, countering fire with not water, but also not fire. He's countering with a slam poetry. I had to come up with something because I realized fire and water and... Well, I guess you can counter water with fire. Just need a lot of fire. So that would be a better analogy. Get me? Just edit that first one. So Hero is countering water with fire. And it's working. Hero! And here we go again. All right. We're on 10,000 feet. Tarantino's dream. And hero has decided that, again, we're back to the in-base wall. I still don't really have a reasoning for it besides defending against these super early pools. But I don't even think that's really that relevant. He's going... It seems very intentional for Protoss versus Zerg, because if you were, for some reason, just having a senior moment, like Hero being one of the only players older than me, occasionally has, then the normal build is Gate, Assimilator, and then Nexus. If that, sometimes Cybercore. So it really seems like he has a theory here that he's trying to bring into practice. And it hasn't really worked, but that's not going to stop him. Because apparently Solar can't stop him otherwise. Sure, I'm going to slap that second pylon down there. Thing is, it doesn't even really deny scouting. It gets you a little more economy. Like, this is scoutless. He has not sent the probe out. In the first game, he sent the probe out at the beginning of the game, blocked the base, did unseemly things to annoy Solar. And now he's just ignoring him, which is even somehow more rude. Well, I'm excited to see what Hero's House of Horrors brings us next. Solar, I don't feel quite as enthusiastic. And he's just chrono boosting probes. This is a macro build. He's the Emperor has no wall. And he's hiding his Stalker. There's no way this isn't intentional. He's very much trying to keep as much information. Okay, there's the gates. Now the Zerglings could just get in, which would kind of... Yeah. Alright. He just gets in. He's like, it's wait. Solar can't believe it. He just leaves. Here, the idea of Hero. Come on, you gotta send in one link. Like, it has to be. It's a ruse. It's a trap. What was behind that was just that one Stalker. That's it. Now there's an adept, but the entirety of the army was one Stalker. And, well, now he's on the third rail. No Stargates. Oh, give me DTs, Hero. Come on, Hero. Third base at 340. I feel like he's banking on the idea, like, the implication of a Stargate, as opposed to the actual Stargate. The third base is on the way, and he's going Glaive to Depths, which apparently is the theme of the day. That's today's mutator, is Glaive to Depths somehow in every game. Or as many games as possible. There's a Roach Warren on the way. Now look at what Hero's done. Look at the worker count. 35 to 40. Solar's sneaking a few more out. But this is by no means a huge economic drain. Hero's taking the gases at a relatively standard... Oh, he's taking one gas. That's already weird, is taking just one. It's just mass adepts. And here comes Solar. Now, Solar is down 4 workers. And nothing is he hasn't killed any drones. Hero has his third base finishing. A robo behind. He's trying to bait him directly into something he can counter with the robo. There's going to be Sloaches out. Hero will spot the Roaches. And Solar looks like he's already... Well, I was going to say all in, but... More adept shading across. What? Okay, he cancels them all. Brings it all together. He's got 14 adepts! And he's just going to fight the Roaches because there's not enough in one place at one time here. He completes the shade into the main and is going to slice his way through a whole lot of the Zerglings. As that's what they're designed for. The Glaives, increasing attack speed by 45%. Yes, I know that sounds like a specific number. I'm not sure how we landed on exactly that. Just recalls out. I did see someone ask the other day. And you know what? It's so rarely that relevant, even though it's occasionally attempted. But the Glaives give you just a huge amount more attack speed. which allows them to do what they already do well even better, slice through Zerglings and drones. But it also makes them quite a challenge for roaches as well. You need enough. In Hero, throughout the years, a lot of players have tried to make adepts a thing. But they're simply usually so easily countered. And I think Solar giving us a pretty good example. Hero breaks his way out, slices through, and oh no. The main base is just undefended. And Hero is just running him around in multi-screen circles. The corrosive bows landing, some of them actually killing Zerglings here. Solar a little off-center with his attack timing, clearly trying to counterattack, but 10 drones dead. And Hero's going to have Immortals by the time any... I don't think that's nearly enough. There's already Immortals out. He doesn't have Blink. The probes will be pulled. He can afford to lose every single one of these probes, and he'll still have the lead. Cancels a cannon that was building before the corrosive bows land. Recharges a shield battery. Prances out of the corrosive bile. And things getting a little more dangerous. Hero loses 21 probes, leaving him with a 15 probe lead. More Zerglings trickling across. But I think Hero has sandbagged this just enough. Oh, and the blink is done at that moment. Oh, and he's done it again. Hero comes up with just exactly the amount of defenses and units he needs to shut that down before it can really start. And Solar in... Well, I'm going to editorialize a bit. In what is a clearly frustrating... At no point did it feel like Solar had really any agency in this series. It was Hero's dastardly delights throughout the entire time. Whether it was the proxy gate, the laziest proxy gate I've ever seen. All he had to do was get up the ramp, but no. Whatever the build, the double Stargate, Hero again, spinning the wheel of madness. And, well, again, it leads him to victory. I'm not sure, I wasn't sure where I was going to land with that, but it feels like Heroes builds themselves. Glaive the Depths it is, all right. Sure, why not? And why not, if you have the opportunity, check out Gamers for Giving 2026. By the time you're watching this, it might be the midst of the final stream, April 12th. So, not too much time, but I think we'll leave the campaign open for a few more days afterwards. You can check out info in the description. That's why I'm showing off my natural hair color. But thank you for watching. Either way, I hope it made your day a little bit better. Good luck. Have fun. If you got the means of motivation, Patreon, YouTube membership, but we already talked about it. Here's free. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. And you can check the VODs of the event with me playing blindfolded. How does that work? Making my wife play her letter games. How does that work? Also poorly. On Winter Gaming TV, the second channel for streaming and, you know, something a little more variety. That's enough outro. I want to thank you for watching. Good luck, have fun. I'll see you next time. Hopefully. Stay chill.